What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Quidditch champions yet again. And I was recording another video just now, just 5 minutes ago, and I mentioned Quidditch champions. My blood pressure started to go up, and I felt like, okay, once I'm done with this one, gotta hit record again. I just want to kind of vent a little bit about Quidditch champions, and it's maybe going to overlap, with that video. August is a very important month for this game, and I would argue July, but it seems like they might phone in July. They're running out of time, okay? And I want to make sure I'm coming across this like the right way. Look, like I want this game to succeed. I'm not like, at least I don't think so. I'm not like fanboying out or anything. You should know by now, based off of my previous work, if there are issues, if there are problems, I'm very, very willing to call it out. In fact, I'm calling it out right now because I think the way that they have delivered this game to people with us a month and a half away from this game coming out is just flat out unacceptable. It seems like they're going to be going into the month of August with 1 month left to get anybody and everybody excited about this game. Now, you might say, well, Alex, because it's Quidditch, you might not have to try too hard. I actually kind of agree, and I wonder what this is the venting part, right? I wonder what the strategy is inside of the studio or the marketing department, because it's like, is this a game that I think they have belief in it, or at least I want them to have belief. I think they should have belief in a game like this, but also it's like, well, it's so popular. You look at what Hogwarts Legacy still, by the way, is doing. Like, Hogwarts Legacy is still there. I think it might have dropped out of the top 10 finally, right? But, like, it's still selling pretty okay. With Suicide Squad that originally did okay and then kind of fell off a cliff, right? Hogwarts Legacy is maybe holding it together right now, maybe with Mortal Kombat leftover sales, right? They might think, hey, going into Quidditch, we don't need a lot of time, right? You could just do like 1 month of like extreme coverage on it. Game comes out and we're golden. And that was kind of the point of the other video I was doing, is games that we really need to like hear about soon, right? Games that are coming out in September or October. You look at games like Black Myth, Black Myth Wukong that comes out like mid-August, maybe even a little bit later August. You look at Star Wars Outlaws. You have seen, for Star Wars, you've seen like hours of footage at this point, right? There's been previews up the yin-yang you've seen. Black Myth Wukong actually has many, many previews as well, extended gameplay, all that jazz. Quidditch comes out right after, like less than a week after Star Wars Outlaws, about a week after Black Myth, and there's nothing. There's a cinematic trailer that gets you into the atmosphere and gets you into, what you're going to feel like when you're flying around, but that's not even exactly accurate because you don't know what it feels like, right, to fly around this game because they haven't shown us and they haven't talked about it. I don't want to talk just in circles in this video. Let me also just throw out, well, what do I want? Instead of just sitting here, complaining and whining, I like to try when possible to provide, okay, well, what do I want to see? What am I actually complaining about? All you really need to do is you ever watched any kind of footage for like upcoming sports games, and sometimes they'll literally have like team on team and they'll just, narrate over it? That's really all you need to do, in my opinion, is give us one game, however long, have however many players. You could have it from inside the studio, you can have bots, you can have whatever you want, and just play the game. Just play one round of the game and narrate over it. And in the case of Quidditch, you're probably going to want to switch because, like, say, Madden, right? You can zoom out. You can kind of see everything. You can see how the receivers are doing. You can see the quarterback, all that jazz. But for Quidditch, you're going to be on the different characters, different roles and stuff. Okay, well, switch characters. Talk us through, what you're doing and how the game actually operates. Honestly, that's all you really need. Like, a gameplay trailer is fine, a minute and a half thing where, you maybe do some cinematic moments, you maybe show some customizations, but you also, literally put in, okay, here's what it's like playing as the keeper or the seeker, whatever it might be, and you put that into the trailer. I think a gameplay trailer, much like for most games, is kind of obvious and like a thing that should happen, but I really, again, like if you're asking, well, okay, you're complaining, but what do you want? That's what I want. I think just have us watch and you narrate over a match. 1v1, a person in your team, right, is playing it against another person, and, they're not out there to, like, absolutely destroy each other, and you have the chance to kind of narrate and talk about, like, how these different mechanics go. You could, honestly, you could go the Hogwarts Legacy route. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Quidditch is the same, like, playing field as Hogwarts Legacy. Like, I just don't think that. I think Quidditch Quidditch, again, I really believe it can be successful. I think people are honestly sleeping on it, but at the same time, what is there, like, why would you be awake for it, right? Because what have they actually done to get you all that excited? So in a way, I actually very much get it. In another way, it's like, okay, I think there's a lot of potential here, but would I pretend like it's the same potential as Hogwarts Legacy? No. But that also goes into, okay, well, how do you promote it? Do you steal? Because Hogwarts Legacy, as I've said multiple times, there's a lot the gaming industry can learn from Hogwarts. One of the things that can always be taken from Hogwarts is their general, not all, but general communication. Leading into the launch, involving creators over press outlets was a genius idea that you can't say it didn't work. You know, I mean, maybe you can argue the lengths that it did work, but I mean, ultimately, like, journalists did get their go at it, right? They also got to go to Universal or whatever, play the game, do their previews, but they prioritize creators over journalists. And, why am I bringing this up? Well, that kind of stuff, I think, generally works, and I think is a strategy any game ever can take at any point. And so, does Quidditch Champions try that next month? Do they do like some sort of creator thing? I don't know. I have no inside info. All I can say is, or all I really want is for something. They've got to come out. And I do like generally what they've done on Twitter where, they're kind of like classifying the balls, and saying, what each of them are and the names and stuff like that. That very much is like Hogwarts Legacy, where they almost do like a character profile, and they did that going into that game. There's very clear overlap in how they're trying to market it, but for a game like Quidditch, it's literally all about the game. And I mean, I will say that to be fair, but also like to be respectful of, what they've done. I get it, and I kind of like it to a degree, but for a game like that, like imagine again, you think of a sports game, you play the sport. Like that's, that was my defense of Quidditch Champions this whole time is I know people aren't a fan of the look. I know, in terms of like the art style and all that stuff, I get all that, but the whole point of a game like this is the game. They haven't shown the game, so, to focus on the art, I don't think focusing on the art is the right move, but what else are you going to focus on right now? To kind of be fair to both sides there. So to me, the game is the most important thing. You got to show it. You got to show a match. And the good news is, because it's a sports game, and you should classify it as that, or at least I'm going to classify it as that, because it is what it is. Showing it doesn't like give the whole thing away. You can't show 3 hours of a single player game, right? Because you just gave away like a huge chunk of that game. But for a sports game, you can show a whole match of Madden. Well, maybe not a whole match, but Madden's longer, right? Like Quidditch is not going to be however long a Madden match is, right? Okay, well, you don't even have to show a full match if you're uncomfortable with that. Show a little bit. But regardless, it doesn't really take away from the game because you're going to be playing it versus them. You're going to have your own strategies. It's about teamwork. It's about playing with others. It's about specializing or, mastering the role that you want to play. You know what I mean? Like, that's the point. And you can get some things off of watching it, hence why I want, them to show it like that. But ultimately, they shouldn't feel afraid of doing it because you can't get everything from watching. You're not giving it away. And ultimately, like the time period that we're living in, people need, like it or hate it, like people need that like in their face. It needs to be in your face. You need to show it to them. You need to talk to them about it. Otherwise, it's just going to either come and go or people aren't going to even know it's there, at all. Like you really got to put it in front of their face. So don't be afraid to show it is really all I'm saying. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.